Beefy Boys Breakdown, episode 87. It's Monday night. We're talking fights. Let's get it. I'm excited. My partner Harrison will be joining me shortly. And yeah, I'm fired up for this main card. Lots to talk about, both good and bad. Plenty of storylines, plenty of implications, all the stuff we love to get to on the UFC. On the Beefy Boys Breakdown. When it comes to talking UFC, talking about like what's going to happen or what could happen next is almost just as fun as talking about what actually did take place. And that's what we're all about here on the Beefy Boys Breakdown. Let me get my partner Harrison on here to join us.
What up?
What up, bro, man? You leave me alone on here too long. It's turning into Michael Chandler, bro. I just start cutting promos, bro. I start looking into the camera, start calling shots, man. It's just,
I think it worked out really, really well for you and potentially him if he was able to get there last, Saturday night.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Man, I'm excited to talk about this main card. Like I said, this main card should be called the Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Wow, that's maybe the most perfect name for this card I could have never thought of.
So much I liked, so much I didn't like, so much to talk about, and
so much that's just ugly in literally it was. If you took the last two fights, good, bad, ugly in that order.
No, seriously, man.
Win, play, show in that order.
For sure, man. But starting off the main card, as you talked to at the end of the prelims card, promoted to this card slot was Randy Brown and Chaos Williams. This was originally supposed to be Cowboy Cerrone, Joe Lauzon. A lot of people were billing it as a loser leaves town type of fight, kind of two UFC veterans, two old heads. Maybe both leave town.
I had it billed that way, and I think I still do.
Yeah, man, and ended up falling through under real suspect situations. I'll never call Cowboy a quitter or something. Anything. Obviously, he's earned the respect to not really have that called into question, but it is just real interesting. Like I said, maybe it has nothing. If you're so anxiety ridden that you're just like vomiting uncontrollably, then that's like it's a real reason.
But that's not Cowboy.
I don't know, man. It's like from what I'm hearing, it's like kind of more what Dana White's official kind of CIA cover-up story is food poisoning. I don't know. You mean to tell me what was Cowboy possibly eating the day before a fight? He's not hitting up any buffets or sushi restaurants. What can he? What did he get a? You know what I'm saying? All those meals are prepackaged, pre-made. The fit meal plans. There's a million of them out there. We all know of them. We've all heard them advertised on podcasts. That's the type of shit they're eating. Am I wrong? He got food poisoning the day before the fight. I don't want to say I'm calling bullshit. I'm just like calling suspect.
I think the bigger tinfoil hat that I've heard on the streets of the web is were they just using Cerrone's name power to help sell this card, knowing that they could essentially just kind of cancel it on the back end and because I think they both get paid their show.
I'll poke a foil. I'll say, hey, call this disrespectful if you want. I don't know how many UFC fans currently in 2022 are paying $75 to watch Cowboy Cerrone.
I agree with that.
The niche corner of the fan base, they exist, but not enough to move the needle.
I had two really casual fans that I talked to about UFC from time to time that both texted me and said, "Do you see Cerrone got pulled? That sucks." So,
maybe I'm too tapped into the hardcore market.
That's what I think. I think we're too deep to realize that people love Cerrone.
Really? Wow, that's wild. That's wild.
Because I literally texted both of them back and I said, "I wish he just retired. Glad he's not fighting." But I think that's really someone that watches a lot of the fights. Yeah, they don't care about the well-being of the person. They just care about the name and their recognizability with that person.
And even the Joe Lauzon fight, I guess I thought it was cool because it was a winnable fight for Cowboy. It wasn't like Conor McGregor.
And Dana even spoke on it being the kind of fight that he wants both those guys to take, which is he's like, I don't want some young savage. And he literally was speaking down on both their names by saying this, but he was like, yeah, I don't want them to have to fight some young, hungry lion because they've earned the right to just kind of walk away into the sunset. He made it sound like there's not any, and obviously this is the truth, but it's just crazy for a promoter to say it, that there's no more longevity in either of those guys' career. There's not title shots. It's nothing like that. It's just it's golden hour fights, you know?
I think the fun begins when that like fact is like realized and actualized. Like I said, with the Arlovskis and the Jim Millers and the Clay Guidas of the world that are all still fighting, they're all still winning, but we're not expecting title runs from them, and it's awesome. It allows us to enjoy it. It's for prime example is if I give you a steak, right, and we're just like hanging out in the backyard, hanging out and drinking beers, and I cook you a steak. You know, you'll eat the steak and probably enjoy it, even if it's not like the best steak you've ever eaten.
Especially if I wasn't intending on getting a steak.
But if I tell you like, hey, I got this steak from the best butcher in town. It was prepared by the best chef in town at a restaurant. This steak would cost you $180. Here you go. And if you got that mediocre steak, you'd be like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But if I give you just your boy drinking beers in the backyard gives you a mediocre steak, what I'm getting at here. It's an exercise in expectations versus reality. And
yeah, which is the most important thing that any human can realize is that perspective is based on expectation versus reality. And when one exceeds the other in the wrong facet, you can only be disappointed.
Like, have you ever even just like picked up a glass of water and it turns out to be Sprite? Even though some might consider Sprite more tasty than water, it still just like turns you off because the expectation didn't meet the reality.
I've done that with vodka as a child, and it was one of the worst, most traumatizing experiences with vodka I've ever had in my life.
Hey, shout out to Mama Vin's Rum and Cokes. Got me a couple.
Yeah, you walk up like, "Ooh, I'm gonna steal this Pepsi," and just crush your face with a Coke and with a bunch of rum in it. And like, I know Mama Vinny, I know Janet. They're not pouring light drinks.
Dude, bro, to this day, you will not catch me drinking a spiced rum. Fuck. But no, seriously, man. Like, but expectation meeting reality, and that's what like whenever they give us, like I said, the Cowboy versus Conor McGregor, that's not expectation meeting reality. I guess the only thing I'm bummed on is that like Joe Lauzon, good opponent, similar points in their career. That part
the matchup was gas.
Yeah,
matchup was fire.
That part was going to be fun. But let's keep it pushing because Randy Brown, Chaos Williams, whether we like it or not, is probably a more relevant fight.
No, I think that's super relevant, especially at 170. I mean, we go from 170 fight to 170 fight, correct?
Yeah.
So
actually,
keep it.
I think that's another part of why. Actually, back to tinfoil hat. I'm sorry, I thought we were past this, but you brought up a good point. I thought that fight was at 172. It was scheduled at lightweight, which also makes me question the goddamn fucking bullshit.
It also makes me question Cerrone's physical reaction.
Last time year,
right,
bro. Look that up. Like real talk. Then we'll
did his body start shutting down because?
What year was it the last time Cowboy made 155? He fought McGregor at 70. He's taken other fights at 70, I believe. I don't think he's made 55. When's the last time he made 55? I mean, maybe I'm wrong here.
Oh my God, Cowboy's record is so bad. Hold on, let me see for you here.
When did he fight at 55 last? I thought he's been fighting at 70.
No. He no, that's the wrong fight. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry for those watching. Like, I really am curious.
Yeah, no, because Nico Price 170, Alex Moreno 170, Anthony Pettis was 170, Conor McGregor was 170. Gaethje made 2019, September 14th, 2019.
That's
been almost 2.5 years.
Like, I think that's the reason why. Like, they said he got sick. Like, that'll make you sick. Why? Also,
Cerrone's 0-5-1 in his last 6 fights.
Well, we both been wanting him to retire. Like I think in the Beefy Boys era, every time we've covered a Cerrone fight, it was like, we don't know if we need to see him back. You know what I mean?
Right. It's literally like I don't want to see him fight anymore. I was almost happy this got pulled.
But this was scheduled at lightweight. At least that's what the poster said. And I think that has something to do with this fight not taking place. Tinfoil hat, maybe not. Who knows?
I don't think you're wrong. I think his body might have rejected that weight cut.
Hey, man, it was stupid to make that at that weight class. Who schedules a fucking 43-year-old guy or whatever it is to make a weight class he hasn't made in fucking 6 years? I mean, a lot of hyperbole there, but the point rings true. Let's dive into Randy Brown, Chaos Williams. And when I say this fight's more relevant, what I mean by that is Chaos Williams knocks out 3 guys in a row in spectacular fashion, and all of a sudden his name matters. And he has the type of skill set where that's a distinct possibility. And I guess Randy Brown, probably to a lesser extent, but still, Randy Brown, respected, feared, you could even say. Dangerous, tough night out in the welterweight division.
I mean,
Vegas saw this as a coin flip, minus 110, second coin flip of the night.
Randy Brown's last loss was, what is that? Almost 2 years ago. It was 21 months ago against Vicente Luque. So,
wow.
Yeah, but between then he's beaten Cowboy Oliveira, Jared Gooden, and now has the fight with Chaos. So, I mean, Randy Brown is stock up for sure in his last few fights, like the way he's been coming. Now, for Chaos, like you just alluded to, he is coming off the loss to Michelle Pajeda, not coming off of, but has that in his last 4 before then, but beat Simmelsberger, beat Baeza, and beat Abdul Razak Al Hassan. So they keep making him fight other young killers to build his name, which is really crazy to me. Like he's kind of the assassin of other young killers. So it makes this fight really fun.
He's the John Wick. He's the killer.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, this fight was dope on paper, and it was dope in real life. I mean, this fight was awesome. I'm really glad it got promoted to the main card just for, like, both of these guys, like, platforms, got, like, elevated. Like, that's a serious moment. And, hey, people say, oh, asterisk, it was because another fight got pulled. Yeah, that shit happens all the time. That's how guys become main eventers. That's how guys.
Well, and they were still the featured event.
Guys have earned championship shots because, you know what I'm saying, because of an injury or a fight or an illness, or you know what I'm saying. So, like, you can't discount it.
Well, and it's nothing for the UFC to elevate their prelim main event to the first fight of the main card, because the prelim main event on a pay-per-view is the last fight anyone's going to see for free on ESPN. It's the last taste they get to leave in your mouth before the pay-per-view typically. So they like that fight to be a spicy, good fight.
Yeah, no, and I like this fight. This fight was spicy, and it was good, man. Yeah, I mean, really, I thought there wasn't really much controversy. It was pretty black and white until round 3. Round 3 was an absolute banger. But, it was another split decision, so we got to go round by round. How'd you see round 1?
Round 1. So I honestly thought that Chaos Williams took round 1 in my book. Now, reason being, I thought he was more effective on the feet as far as the damage he was landing, but I also thought Randy Brown just wasn't very efficient with the strikes he was throwing. It seemed like he was throwing a lot that wouldn't connect or would be just completely a whiff. It would allow Chaos to get in to certain opportunities he wouldn't have had without that kind of a whiff.
Yeah, my oversimplified kind of view of round 1 was just like Chaos was actually able to hurt Randy Brown at the start of the round, but it was pretty competitive after that. But competitive, it's weird. Usually it happens in reverse. Usually it'll be pretty competitive, and then somebody will do something at the end of the round to steal it. I feel like that happened at the beginning of the round. Like Chaos had the big moment at the start of the round, and then the rest of the round was pretty 50-50. But still the math weighs, as far as my scorecard and your scorecard, in the favor of Chaos.
Every judge had the first round 10-9 to Chaos as well. So the only chaos that's going to take place in the fight is going to be rounds 2 and 3. No pun intended, but pun very much intended. So as we get on to round 2, I thought Randy Brown completely changed up his movement, which allowed him to change his striking defense, which allowed him to counter more. And I thought that easily stole him the round.
Bro, I was striking defense in my notes too. He really turned up the head movement. And it's weird. Yeah. That's not something that you can learn mid-fight, which leads me to believe that maybe nerves had him kind of stiff to start the fight. Maybe getting moved up to the main card had something to do with that. Maybe it didn't. But I'm just saying, it's not like that's something you learn in a matter of a 1 minute coaching session in between rounds. So like that, but the head movement was significantly better in round two. So like maybe it was bright lights, who knows? But from round two on, Randy Brown did look much better. I agree.
He might have underestimated the power as well until he felt it in round one.
If you're underestimating Chaos Williams, then hey, that's a bad move on your end and your coach's end. But he hurt Chaos twice, and he had that stiff jab working. Randy Brown was the longer fighter, and he was putting that jab to work. Had better defensive head movement.
He did get dropped in round two again, but I felt like he won the whole round.
I forgot about that. Damn,
yeah.
Well, Chaos has that, man. He touches you, man. He touches you.
But that's the thing, right? Is like it was a volume round where Brown did a lot more over the course of 4.5 minutes, and Chaos probably had a good 30 seconds of great work.
Yeah, no, okay. I'm glad you brought that to the table. I forgot about that moment. But yeah, I still gave it for Brown. You still had it for Brown too, right? You had it 19-19 going into the third.
Yeah. And I think for me, the third round, this is where it's going to get controversial, if at all. Because like we said, split decision, it does come down to this round. Every judge scored round two to Randy Brown. Round three was tough to score, I thought, but it wasn't impossible to score, right? Like, I thought it was rather clear Randy Brown won the third round. I thought it was like a 55-45 split.
Bro, I love how you worded that. Like, seriously, you were like telepathically like reading my thoughts right there, man. Yeah, I feel very similarly. Banger of a round, don't get me wrong. Each man hurt each other. But Randy Brown fucking hurt. He hurt Chaos 3 times with three different techniques. He hurt him with the right hand, with a knee, and with an elbow. Williams hurt Brown once with the right hand. Like, hey, I'm no goddamn math major here, but that's pretty obvious 3-1. Like, hey, like what are we doing here? How is that controversial?
I couldn't understand it, man. When this got read as a split, and the first one they read was 29-28 Chaos Williams, was like, well, what? Really? 1 and 3? Because I knew it wasn't 2. I got round 1, obviously. We all knew that one.
Yeah.
I thought round 3 was, I mean, it was obviously the deciding round of the fight, but like I said, not impossible to score.
No.
Pretty straightforward, I thought, for the most part.
One guy hurt the other guy once, and the other guy hurt the other guy 3 times. Like I said,
ring pressure and such wasn't really a factor because they were so back and forth with their strikes. So it really just came down to damage, I thought, in the third round. And it was very clear Randy Brown did more damage.
100% agree with you, bro. And at the end of the day, the right man won the fight. 2 judges scored at 29-28 Brown. 1 judge scored at 29-28 Williams, which, like I say, Chaos Williams, he's a tough night out. He can take out anybody on any given night. The right punch at the right time.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
And Brown, I mean, like you said, that's an impressive resume starting to build for him.
Great spot for Brown to be in. It's a great spot for Brown to be in.
Well, even better after being on the main card. That same win,
that's what I mean.
It's like twice as beautiful, right? Puts makeup on it, right? Puts
exactly right. Lipstick on exactly right, man. And like for Randy Brown, a good showing against a reputable name like Chaos Williams, a guy that draws eyes to the game, and he ate his power, countered it with his own power, and had good movement, looked good in the ring. I mean, stock up for Randy Brown. He's probably in the top 20 of the welterweights right now. He's getting close to that 15 shot.
And I'm not that down on Chaos. It's like Chaos still did what Chaos does. Like he put Brown down a couple times. I mean, he put him down 2 or 3 times, right? Like that's what he does. Lesser men are probably knocked out. I mean, he still proved that his skill set's just as valid as it ever was, in my opinion.
So let me ask you this: going from there, what do you think about Fialho Randy Brown?
Oh man, sign me up for both guys.
I think that makes a lot of sense here, right?
I'll tell you what, my money's on Fialho. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and Randy Brown couldn't fight as soon as Fialho could fight. So the UFC, if they're trying to really stoke the fire and make money, they won't do that. But if they don't put him on 75, I could see it.
I like the question. I like good work on your end by connecting those dots. My brain didn't go there. Hey, I'm here for the hypothetical. I love it. No, we got to keep it pushing to the next fight. We got Shogun Rua versus Open St. Preux 2. And hey, man, I'm not here to fluff my own feathers and I'm so hardcore. that I fucking am juiced about this fight. Like, hey, when Shogun was killing the game in Pride, I was goddamn eating goddamn big league chew and
Yeah.
and batting 300 for a little league team in Purcell. So you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I was nice at the baseball, but hey, what I'm getting at is here is like man, back like, hey, I'm 27 years old. When Shogun Rua was in Pride, I was goddamn, you know what I'm saying? My nuts hadn't dropped yet. Like, I'm not ashamed to like not be like super like dialed in. Maybe you feel differently, but like this
No, I
fight
mean
was for
Shogun's
the
been
old
fighting for
heads.
what, 18 years?
That's what I'm saying. Like we were children whenever like these like glory days were going on.
Yeah, like
So
literally 8 or 9 years old for like Shogun's like best days.
so it's like, hey, if you want to aim that big casual cannon our way and fire it, here's your target. But hey,
Yeah,
man, like,
like take your shots. But I mean, I mean, Oven St. Preux, as much as he didn't start at the same age, he was doing his thing at Tennessee for the football team, kind of in the Peyton Manning days. A little after that, actually. But point being is that he's been a fighter in the game for a long time too. Used to kind of be a gatekeeper to the like top 8 or so of the 205 division. Kind of has fallen off since. This to me felt like the same thing that Lozon Cerrone was going to be. Kind of older names that are at that point in their career where they're not coming up anymore. They're just fun guys to watch fight. Typically, I didn't think this was a fun fight.
yeah. Oh, I have the word snooze in all caps on the second and third round. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it won't be the last time we got to talk about a snoozer. We got to talk about it. This is a fight. And see, bro, this is why I wasn't excited. I'm not trying to sit here and pat myself on the back or call myself the smartest guy of all time. But what I will tell you is, like, I didn't think that this was going to be an exciting fight. So I wasn't necessarily let down, if that makes sense.
I wasn't let down, but honestly, I was perplexed by this by the decision. It's a split decision here, and no judge scores it the same way.
Yeah, which makes me super curious how you scored it. I guess I'll go first. Open St. Preux was a minus 260 favorite over Shogun plus 210 in the light heavyweight division. I scored around 110.9 for OSP. The front kick to the body was essentially the story of the round, which made like it seems like it would be tough for me to see somebody scoring that round of Shogun because like when I think of that round, I think of that OSP front kick. Shogun's whole belly was like super duper red, and I don't know, maybe that's an oversimplification, but that's like when I think of round one, that's what I think of.
No, that's exactly what I feel. I think the front kick was the main weapon in the first round. I thought that it could really go either way because that kind of damage is hard to account for visually, right? Because a lot of the time you see it as like a thing to keep distance with,
But
not
it would
necessarily an
look
attacking
super
weapon.
visual. Like his belly, I don't know if I see somebody belly that red. Like his belly was fucking red.
Right. I know, I agree, but like he wasn't throwing combination. There were a lot of things that kind of detracted from the effectiveness of the techniques, right? Because it was the only thing he was doing. So, kind of a boring first round. I also scored at 10-9 OSP. I think you could make a case for Shogun, but I don't think it's a strong one.
The sad thing is, I thought that was like the least boring round. I thought that was like the funnest round. If you
Yeah,
like,
I
you
agree.
know,
I agree entirely.
which
That
is
was
a
the
damn
most
shame.
activity. Which for me to tell you that it was a low activity first and it's the most active just tells you how bad the second and third are.
Foreshadowing, man. Neither guy looked like they wanted to be there, which at this point they probably didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, sounds like a duck, I don't think either one of these guys wanted to be there. Round two, it was close, but it was close for all the wrong reasons, for all the snoozy reasons. I came down on the side of 10-9 to Shogun. He, I have in my notes punches to the head over kicks to the body, and I know I gave round one to OSP 4 kicks to the body, so maybe that sounds a little contradictory, but round two, very little happened. Shogun punched OSP in the head like a couple of times, and OSP kicked Shogun in the body a couple of times. Given those like two options in a vacuum, choosing the head punches, I gave it to Shogun.
I would love to see this fight scored on verdict, round by round. honestly,
Yeah.
because I also gave round 2 to Shogun, literally for the exact reasons you described. What's interesting that I wanted to note is that the first round, one judge gave Shogun the first round, the other two gave it to OSP. In the second round, two judges gave round 2 to Shogun, one judge to OSP. So we were with the majority of the judges scoring, even though that was rotating between them.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I want
Yeah.
to see the verdict app, because I feel like verdict is probably going to score this more accurately than any of these judges did. But then round 3, where I think it all comes down to, because, I mean, we each have it 19-19, another snoozer. But Shogun was winning the snoozy rounds.
Dude, see, I have OSP winning the snoozy third, but like also I have the Beefy Boys first. It's the first time in my notes I ever have the word activity in quotes because I mean I was just grasping at anything to possibly judge, which like I said, we'll be asked to do that again later in the night. But I was just grasping like how do you judge nothing? How do you judge what is this? Like there's nothing to judge. How do you judge it? And I thought OSP was I mean, you call it pressure. You can call it walking forward and doing nothing. I mean, I feel you. I'm grasping at straws here. I'm trying to make a straw man argument. I'm trying to lawyer ball. I mean, I'm just grasping for anything here. I came down on the side of OSP. I thought he was moving forward, and then he did throw like a couple of body kicks. Hey, I mean, not much happened in that round. Like, I'm not dying on any hills. So I have it 29-28 OSP.
For me, I'm totally okay with that score. And I think eye test OSP probably was the better fighter in round 3.
Who fucking cares?
That's my thing. And I'm going to repeat that point in a couple of fights. I really didn't care. By the time this fight was over, I was like, it doesn't matter who wins. You guys both put on a shit performance that I wasn't entertained by. And ultimately, this is an entertainment game. So it's stocked down on both guys. Now, granted, that all being said, OSP wins by split decision. One judge 29-28 for him. One judge 30-27 for him. And one judge 29-28 for Shogun, which I actually misread my notes. I scored the third for OSP. I misread it. I said Shogun probably could have won the round. I thought I said he did.
Yeah, so we both had the same scorecard. I think that's probably the accurate scorecard. I mean, but honestly, like, who gives a shit?
Which judge do you think scored at 29-28 for... I know, I can see the name, obviously, but who do you think scored it for Shogun?
I mean, just on the theme of the night, I'm going to guess, Junichiro.
That is exactly who it was.
Yeah. You know, every time I hear the word Junichiro, I'm a big King of the Hill nerd, and, like, Hank Hill has a half-brother in Japan that his World War II veteran father left in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
And his name was Junichiro. And there's this famous scene where Hank's like, oh, Junichiro. And, like, that's what I think of every fucking time. But yeah.
Not inaccurate. They do share the same name. But, yeah, this fight was terrible, man. Honestly, thank God for the next fight. Let's keep it pushing.
Thank God for the next fight. Yeah, because, I mean.
It's going to give us, I think, the highlight of the year thus far. And also some big storylines to talk about as far as how we see the rest of each guy's career playing out from here.
This fight was important for each
Super important. So important.
Dana White came out and said it wasn't a loser leaves town, but the fact that the question was being asked kind of tells you all you need to know.
You know what, though? After I watched it, it's not. I don't want either guy to leave town. I want both of them back in the ring.
Oh, me too, and I felt that way. A lot of fans felt that way.
Well, see, I was mixed coming in. I really didn't know. I mean, I thought if Tony Ferguson got put away quick and would just looked bad, that I was kind of on that retirement's doorstep phase for him. And now, having said all that, before we break the fight down, I do not think that is the case for him, even after the outcome.
So, like, broad stroke here, I think we're going to both agree on this broad stroke statement. Tony Ferguson looked good on Saturday night.
Looked really good. How'd you score the first round? Well, let me introduce two. 55, obviously. Lightweight kings here. Michael Chandler, ranked 5th, minus 320, fighting Tony Ferguson, who's ranked 7th at plus 250. For Tony, this is a big deal because if he wins this fight, he gets a top 3 shot, probably Islam. And then if he can beat Islam, he gets that next shot. So for Tony, this is a you're close to the peak again.
sit here and act like I was high on Tony Ferg, but what I will say is this. When I was planning on building a parlay, I couldn't bring myself to include Chandler at minus 320. Now, if you were to give me Chandler at plus 220,
Yeah.
or minus 220, yeah, I'll put that in my parlay all day. I like Chandler in this, but not as much as Vegas did and not as much as like the betting public did. I guess you could say whenever you just seen a guy get knocked out and choked twice in a row or whatever, it's just like it's hard to be just like super gung ho. Like this guy can dominate this former champion just like guaranteed. Like I didn't understand. Like I feel you, Tony's looked, but I don't know how bad has Tony looked. The answer's bad, but what I'm saying is how bad. Like Charles Oliveira's made everybody look bad in the past goddamn fucking 36 months, right? I mean,
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira's fucking made quick work, light work of everybody. So we're gonna hold that against him. And then who else? Beneil Dariush, right? That was the other one. I mean, goddamn. I mean, Beneil Dariush, like a 9-fight win streak. I mean, he's pretty much done that to everybody he's been lined up against. Now, obviously, Islam will be the big test there. Remains to see if that fight's still going to take place. A lot of questions there. But what I'm saying is, as far as Tony, and then who was the other one? It was Gagey, right? Which he was fighting for the belt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, goddamn, we find ourselves in just a tough spot of like, I mean, there's a realistic scenario where Tony Ferguson's the fourth best guy in the world, but just, I mean, he's
his losses are too.
Stretch.
Yeah, I mean, but if you're thinking about it, his losses are literally to the two guys fighting for the belt on the same night, or scheduled to do that because obviously Oliveira cannot.
1 and 3.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. The philosophical argument exists. Now that's not what I'm arguing, but the philosophical argument that Tony Ferguson is the fourth best lightweight in the world, like it exists and it can't be proven wrong.
Yeah, no, I fully agree, man. Like, So I think the fight makes sense.
Did you agree with the money line, though? I guess is what I'm getting at. Because, like, a lot of people were just like, oh, yeah, this is a lock of the week. Chandler. I mean, we can get to hindsight and all that. But going into it, I mean, how did you feel about that money line?
I mean, I can never say anyone's a lock against Tony Ferguson. And I thought at plus 250, Tony was a way juicier bet here than Chandler at minus 320.
It was too rich. It was too rich
for
my blood.
Right. That's what I mean. And, like, honestly, I could see Tony being a plus 190. I thought plus 250 was big money on him. Like, it made me interested to throw him on a parlay and or take him outright because, honestly, Chandler being a great wrestler and Tony having such great offense off of his back kind of made problems for Michael Chandler, considering that Tony still has a 6-inch reach advantage standing.
Well, my whole thing going into it in my mind's eye was like Chandler gets hit. No, we love Chandler for that, and he can.
He's the most exciting 155 fighter, by the way. I will make that case right now, right here.
But a guy that gets it, that's what I'm saying. You're never going to get me to bet minus 320 on a guy who, like, for sure is going to get drilled, which happened. He got drilled.
Yeah. Okay, so diving into it, Tony rocked him early, had him hurt. Now, shout out to Michael Chandler's athleticism because he hit a massive, like, football spear-style double leg, got on top, but then started eating some nasty bows.
Yeah, classic Tony Ferguson from the bad bows.
He was landing some very sick ground and pound in the round. But honestly, man, when I scored round 1 to Ferguson.
You and Chael Sonnen did.
Every judge scored it for Ferguson as well.
Really?
Every single one.
I gave it to Chandler, man. That take down the control, the ground and pound. Chandler, every judge gave it round 1 to Ferguson. Are you fucking kidding me?
His work from the bottom, man, because even when he got taken down, it wasn't.
Bottom.
But listen, he won by such a big margin.
From the bottom.
Yeah, power bottom. But he won by such a wide margin on the feet that for him to lose by a small margin and almost exactly halfway, like I had to give it to Tony. It's a tough argument. It's a tough argument.
Phone is at 10%, so we it's unfortunate, but we got to keep it pushing. But I mean, this fight is Michael Chandler in 17 seconds into the second round, regardless of who wins the first. Head kick knockout, like you said, one of the knockouts
Front
of the year
kick.
candidate. I mean, so Michael Chandler's already in the fight of the year candidate. He's already a knockout of the year candidate. I like this guy. I guess it's like in style to like Michael Chandler or talk shit on Twitter or not be on board or whatever. Hey, man, Michael Chandler, if he's ever on a pay-per-view, he's part of what like makes it worth my money. Like, seriously.
He's the most entertaining lightweight in the game right now. I
like,
had said that at the start of this fight, and like I said, I'd make that case. If you look at all his fights in the UFC, Gaethje, Oliveira, Ferguson, the dude only puts out highlights, whether it be against him, for him, a war of a decision, him losing by getting KO'd, or Hooker as well, him winning by KO, him winning by KO again here with one of the ultimate knockouts of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, dude's a highlight reel.
Fighting only top guys. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and then cuts the best promos in the world. He calls out the winner of Gaethje Oliveira. He calls out McGregor. Oh, and one fantastic promo.
Calls out Conor at 170 or the winner of Gaethje Oliveira.
Yeah, which I honestly think there's claim to because he had absolute 50-50 coin flip wars with both Oliveira and Gaethje. Let's not forget. I know history won't remember it that way, but that's what happened. There was moments in those fights where he could have won. And
damn near should have beat Oliveira. Oliveira just has some sort of magic in his body where he can't get knocked out fully. I don't know. We'll address that coming up, but I don't know what that shit is.
I also think Chandler is about as soft, like I'm talking out both sides of my neck, about as soft a landing as McGregor's going to find. If you're
I agree. I agree. It's the best matchup McGregor could get because it's a guy that doesn't like to throw a lot of kicks and loves to throw hands.
McGregor will have the reach. He's down to stand up with McGregor. But at the end of the day, he does have that wrestling advantage over him. I'm not saying I think I still like Chandler if that fight gets made. I know it's early, not giving a lot of thought. It's a knee-jerk reaction. Give me Chandler over McGregor. But I at the same time, I will say, because I mean, the only other options is McGregor coming back against Poirier, McGregor coming back against Oliveira, or I guess you could argue Nate Diaz is a softer landing than Mike Chandler. I think Mike Chandler has more in the tank than Diaz. So if you want to do Diaz,
but Diaz and Hamzat are going to fight.
Allegedly,
that fight's a ruse.
Hey, I'm here for it. No, fuck that.
That fight's terrible.
I know. Hey, this is gonna get me mad. I'm only about 2 hours from Stockton, but hey, smash, brother. I'm Team Shemaya.
Yeah, you're here for a Hamzat payday. I see what you're here for. I see what you came for.
Oh, give me what I came for, and that's Hamzat smash. But let's keep on pushing to this non-co-main event. I mean,
I do want to say last thing on the last fight. It is a real KO of the year contender, if not the forefront leader right now. That KO, for anyone that hasn't seen it, they've made it like a public clip. Go look it up. It's one of the best knockouts I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god, I just feel like there's been better ones, but you're right.
The front dude for Ferguson to be out for 4 minutes, like that kick was thrown with so much malicious intent.
Yeah, and it wasn't very relevant. That matters too. And
for him to lose the first round on my card, all the judges' cards, I know it was a pretty 50-50 round, but for him to be down and just throw that 17 seconds in the second round and just, I mean, the memes, the pictures, it's got to be up there.
No, I feel you. Yeah, you see the McNugget memes?
Oh my God, Conor McGregor had fun with that one too. Jesus.
Hey, it's funny. It was on Mike Chandler actually went on Pat McAfee.
Yeah, I saw it today.
He's like, sometimes you just fucking punt a guy in the head.
Yeah, they loved that.
Yeah, no,
he even admitted that he threw that as like a check for distance and just hit it literally right on the chin.
Just perfect, which is,
You're right, though. Let's push the next fight because I have nothing but bad things to say.
Yeah. So this next fight was so bad that it gives us something to talk about, which seems like an oxymoron. One of the worst fights I've ever watched. I might go as far as to say it's the worst fight I've ever watched, but that factors in context. I've watched worse fights, I'm sure, on prelims or whatever other promotions.
I don't know, bro. I don't know.
But
I really don't know.
Given a belt was on the line and it was a co-main event of a pay-per-view, factoring those in, which I am, worst fight I've ever seen. Worst fight I've ever paid money for. I'll say that.
Man, you know what? Ultimately, what makes me think this is such a bad fight, and it's like, I did expect this to be a good fight. So, yes, some of the money I paid was to watch this fight. Like, you're not wrong in saying that. Like I put a lot of my money stake percentage-wise into this fight and the last fight and the fight before it.
Oh, bro, out of my $75, like 25, 30 of it was for Rose.
Yeah, exactly right. The great percentage breakdown, because I watched it with Kenneth, and he even looked at me before the fight started, and he said, if Rose loses, just expect me to go to my room and not even watch this last fight. Like, I just want to see her win. There's plenty of, like, big Thug Rose fans, because she has such a relatable human story, and also her last performance against Zhang Weili was so fire.
So far, sign me up. I'm a Rose fan myself. Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't have a problem with this being the co-main. For people saying this was a weak co-main, weak card, whatever. Hey, strawweight belt. I love strawweights. I love Rose. I love title fights. Fuck it, sign me up. But hey,
yeah, and a rematch where Rose is trying to avenge a previous loss from the Ultimate Fighter finale where she lost to champion Rose Namajunas -210 fighting number 1 ranked Carla Esparza at +165. This was the fight that had to happen at 115 next. And I honestly thought on paper that these odds were pretty damn correct, if not almost in Carla's favor. I thought Rose could have been a -240.
So the only round that wasn't a snoozer was round 4. That round was Carla Esparza's best.
I was going to say, we all agree that I think everyone can agree that Rose won 5 and Carla won 4. I think those rounds are not very debatable.
Yes, I agree. So
I think 1 through 3 gets super murky.
Super murky. How'd you see him? And I'm just going to go real quick. I'm going to go round 1 Rose, round 2 Carla, round 3 Carla. That's how I saw it.
Man, so I saw it round 1 Rose, round 2 Carla, round 3 Rose.
Okay. All right.
So you fell 48-47 for Esparza. I fell 48-47 for Rose when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
You want to know my honest feelings on the fight?
Sure. I mean, I'm sure mine are similar.
I don't give a shit about the score of the fight. It was terrible. Neither girl deserved to win. Neither girl deserves to be the champion or title holder from that fight. They didn't do a damn thing in 25 minutes of fighting. It was very sad. It's a super sad display.
This is the weird kind of hypothetical question we're left asking ourselves is, what do you dislike more? Somebody winning the belt, kind of doing nothing, or do you think it's a good punishment to a champion to you try to get away with doing nothing because you're the champion? Like, how do you feel? Because I'll be real. Call me like Patty or whatever, and I'm a Rose fucking fan. Rose, you didn't deserve to keep your belt. And my scorecard didn't fall on the Esparza side, so maybe that factors in. But I didn't really feel that much pity for Rose because I thought there was plenty of opportunity because this fight mainly took place on the feet where Rose had an advantage. And so I put a lot of the blame on Rose for the stinker, and I did not feel bad for her missing her belt or losing her belt. All right, I'll turn it over to you.
So here's how I feel about it is I do not feel bad for Rose because she didn't do near what I would expect. Well, I know what she's capable of, and she didn't do a damn thing like what she's capable of. Now, in Carla's, on that side of the coin, she didn't have a performance that was worthy to be winning a belt. You know, I can't say that's a girl that deserved to be crowned new champion, but I also can't say that Rose deserved to keep her belt. Like, this was literally a fight where I was stuck down on both girls because it was a shit fight. And they fought before, so it didn't need to be like that. They knew each other's tendencies. They both grown as fighters. They should have showed us something different. Instead, they both shied away from the moment. That's not who I want to see be the champion. Either one of them.
Give me Whaley Joe on that.
Yeah, bring him back because apparently those two girls forced other girls to fight.
Yeah, no, seriously. I agree with all that. And let's keep pushing the main event of the evening. It's Justin Gaethje plus 125 against Charles Oliveira minus 145. Even after the weight miss, even after the vacation of his title. So if Gaethje won, he gets the belt. Oliveira wins. It's a vacant title. Fight did not make it out of the first round. I gotta say though, that don't get it mistaken. Just because you see Oliveira first round sub, don't think it was a floor mopping. Each man knocked each other down. I mean, it was very back and forth, super hyper competitive, back and forth. Oliveira came out on top.
Man, what's crazy to me about Oliveira coming out on top like that is that Gaethje was winning the fight until then. You know what I mean? Like, do you agree with that? That Gaethje was winning the fight until Oliveira took over in the last probably 45 seconds to a minute?
Yeah, but I mean, Jesus, we're talking about a total of 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So yeah, Gaethje won 2 minutes of that. I'd give you that. You know, probably the first 2 minutes.
I mean, yeah, it's hard for me to say though, right? Because like Gaethje did exactly what I thought he should do. He was doing it perfectly, man. Was dropping Oliveira, was letting him back up so he could continue to drop him.
See, that's where I disagree, man. I thought he should have got on top.
Maybe, but Oliveira is so dangerous at submissions.
That's hindsight 2020.
I think what else is important here too is that Gaethje, once again, this got him in trouble with Chandler. He falls in love with that left uppercut, man. He falls in love with it, and it stings him every fucking time. He needs to quit doing that.
Yeah, man, Gaethje I think he refuses to just be a mixed martial artist, man.
It's terrible too.
He tries
I hate
to
that.
Just box. He fights a guy like Khabib with an advanced ground game, or a guy like Oliveira who has an advanced stand-up and ground game and a chin. And it's just like Gaethje can beat a lot of people, but like can't win a title off like toughness. I think that's what we're learning. The UFC is just like evolved past that to where you need just high-end all-around skills. And I think Gaethje has high-end all-around skills. He just like refuses to use them. He tries to box. He just tries to, maybe a leg kick here and there, you know?
You know what's great about this, though, right? Is that now that Gaethje and Poirier have both lost, the belt is vacated because we both know that Oliveira is still the champion, essentially, right?
Yes.
Granted, he has to make the weight, but I think he will for sure. Chandler has an argument here. I think it's very clear it's Islam Oliveira for the belt.
Yeah, it has to be Islam, but some people say they're still trying to remake the Islam Dariush fight. I know Islam's camp is fighting that. Dana seems to have a point to prove there, but Dariush being hurt, that muddies the water.
I'm not
shot.
But he got so damn close.
So close. That's like honestly, I guess and this may be the same conversation the UFC's having. And I'm not asking you which one you think you want to see. I'm not asking you which one do you think other people would want to see. I guess I am. But which one do you think sells more pay-per-views? Islam, Charlie Olives?
It's Chandler Charlie Olives because Chandler sells pay-per-views now, man. Like, this dude has built a name to where I want to watch Chandler fight.
So, man. So that
Islam's boring, too, to watch.
But Oliveira has pretty much acknowledged he would let Conor jump the line. But Conor's also acknowledged I don't think he can make 155 anymore. So, that's like a huge little thing there.
Yeah. No doubt. I think it's going to be super interesting moving forward, man. I know your phone's dying, so I don't want to drag it out.
Yeah. I don't want to lose this content.
I think what I would do as the UFC is Chandler versus Oliveira, because I think Chandler has earned that with that impressive-ass KO. And remake Makhachev Dariush and essentially tell the winner, like, hey, you get next up.
Oh, number one contender for sure. I agree. I think that fight still has to happen. But also, I would understand giving it to Islam. But I could also see Islam doesn't sell pay-per-views. So, yeah, no, I completely agree, bro. But, yeah, another fun episode, man. Episode 87. I hate the time crunch, but it's just one of those things, as you all know. Yeah, man, UFC 274, Charlie Aller's the people's champ for once and all, right?
Yeah, he's still my people's champ.
Yeah, man, he's my champ too, man. Hey, have a good night, brother. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. I'll catch you next week. Rakic
Yes.
Blachowicz.
Hey, man, give me Blachowicz all day.